Yes, people, welcome to another episode of the Top 4 Football Podcast. I said four then, and guess what? There's four of us for the first time, and for at least a month, I think. Mainly been me, Jack, and Rob. Nath turned up last week, and then Jack thought, fuck it, I ain't going to do it if Nath's here. But we got them all together this week. International break. You can see the boys are wearing the Wales tops. That's lovely to see. How are we doing, boys? We all good?
Yeah, boy. All good. All good,
Yeah,
baby.
man.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we're gradually nearly at the end, or by the time this comes out, we'll be at the end of the international break. Always a bit of a damp one, I think, at the beginning of the season. No one really cares that much about it. But a couple of big games, and I'm sure when the Euros get closer next year, we'll discuss a little bit more. We're going to go straight in, and one of the things that we wanted to talk about was probably the biggest news in football right now, or in the last 24 to 48 hours, is Mr. Paul Pogba has failed a drug test and could be looking at 4 years being banned. What's so funny, Yoki?
I just don't think the bloke wants to play football at all.
No,
Like,
not at all.
like in this day and age, surely, like I don't know if any of his backroom staff or surely other people knew about it. You know what I mean? Like when this happens in the UFC, there's usually like a contingent or a team behind them that were aware of the situation, trying to cover it up or trying to get away with it. Maybe it was an influence from someone. But firstly, why does he need it? Like, do you know what I mean? Does it like what are the actual benefits? Because it's testosterone, right? That's what he got caught doing.
Yeah.
What actually does his balls drop a bit lower? Like, does his voice go a bit deeper? Like, what
It gives you performance
what's
enhancement, doesn't it? Can make you faster, stronger, better recovery. It's got a lot of benefits, but obviously that's why it's illegal to stop players from becoming like superhuman players. Even though I'd love to see a league maybe one day where they'd get everyone juiced up and just let them go at it. I think that'd be brilliant. I think that'd be a brilliant watch of mine.
I said that about UFC before, actually. I was like, fuck you, Sada. Just let everyone do what the fuck they want and just
He's
get
all
just get in a cage, like.
Well, I mean,
TOT.
I mean,
Brilliant time.
it's not really one for us to get into, but they're all on drugs anyway. Let's just make that crystal clear. They're all on drugs anyway, the fighters.
Sure.
I actually think, first conspiracy theory of the episode, I actually think a lot of footballers all are on performance enhancing drugs. The people who make the drugs are way ahead of the people who are trying to find out who's on the drugs. So, and they've got more money. You think about how much money there is in sport. People are definitely on drugs, on the right cycle, missing out on getting tested and stuff. But anyway, maybe that's a bit too deep for one conversation.
Why didn't Pogba just do the normal thing and just hire a witch doctor again?
Yeah. That's the thing when you go through it with Pogba, it's like the massive like money moves, the dancing,
Shit hair.
the getting done with that story, and then just to throw it all in, he just got a drugs ban. Like he's collecting like all the weird infinity stones for what could happen in a football career.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been definitely surrounded by controversy, hasn't he? For the past 10 years, really, isn't it? All of his career. Like the stuff with his brother as well, and getting involved in the mob in France is, a little bit crazy. You love to see it, though. Who doesn't love drama? Let's be fair.
The first thing that I thought when I saw it was like, didn't he want to retire when all that was happening last year? Like, didn't he consider just like packing it in? And like, but he's not playing football at the moment. Like, he's not getting picked. In the summer, he was linked to a move away again. Like, Juventus only wanted like 15, 20 mil for him or something stupid.
Well, this is it, right? This is my other conspiracy theory, and I actually think this is legit, right? Juve don't want him to play. Juve want him gone. He's costing loads of money. Juve are helping their players take loads of performance enhancing drugs. They're like, right, we can't get rid of Pogba. Let's dob him in. Let's get him caught out, gets banned for 4 years, off the books. That's my little conspiracy theory for the situation.
I'm surprised you didn't turn up wearing like your tinfoil hat or something, bro.
I know. But
That could be classified as slander. You never know. But
Yeah, that's why I say so quiet. I mean, I don't know who he's connected with Pogba, but they fucking scare me. Whoever they are, they're either the Russians who are helping the Olympics team, or witches. Not fucking with
suppose
voodoo. Not fucking with voodoo.
if
Sorry,
something
man.
happens to me now because of I've just said that, we know this podcast made it. Let's be honest. If
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
those people are finding out about it, we've made it,
Yeah.
lads. So it's fine.
Like 4 years. How old are you now? 31? 2?
I think he is 31. I think he
31?
is 31. Yeah.
So 4 years, that's 35 years old of not playing any football. Surely that's it now. Gotta be, right?
Career's
Yeah,
over.
Yeah, he's a social media star. He always has been as well, hasn't he? Like he's been more interested in doing TikToks and things like that for the past few years, and he's probably made a decent living off it.
He'll be in
I said,
Soccer Aid next year.
yeah, but yeah, exactly. They don't drug test for that, do they? It's all for charity.
He's only 30. He's only 30. So, but still 34, 4 years out.
It feels
I
like he's
don't-
been in the game so long. It's mad. Like, he feels like he should be in his mid-30s by now. The amount of time he's been around, and like I said, maybe it's just a controversy around him. Seems like he's aged a lot quicker than what he actually is.
I don't think he'll get the full 4 years. I think it's rare for that to happen. I think he'll get a way out of it. They'll say that it wasn't meant to be on purpose, and he'll get like 18 months to 2 years, and then probably come out and go to Saudi or something.
Man City have been getting away with financial fair play charges for years. So I don't like a doping charge on one player is going to stop him that much. You probably pay a massive fine, he's back playing them before you know it.
Yeah, but the Man City have a lot more power than Pogba. That's like a whole football club.
The first thing I thought about.
I reckon Pogba's probably got more followers on social media than Man City.
Nah, surely not.
Just saying. Yeah, that's something for someone to check. But you never know. Just saying, he probably might have.
I'm not trying to call you out on this, Nate, but what does that have to do with his punishment?
It's why he's social influence, isn't it?
Right. Okay.
He knows a guy. He knows a guy.
So-
he knows a guy.
Speaking of Pogba and the flops, one of the things we wanted to do was talk about players who maybe have flopped in their career or maybe not reached their full potential. And some people would put Pogba in that bracket. Other people wouldn't. So maybe before we go around and all give one name, what do we think of Pogba's career? Do we class it as a flop?
He's a World Cup winner in my eyes, I think.
Not just your eyes, he is a World Cup winner.
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say in my eyes, he's not a flop. That's I got a bit cut out there mid sentence. I've not had a lot of sleep. So yeah, for me, I don't think like I said, the club level definitely has been considered a flop in the last few years. But let's be fair, he achieved quite a lot at a young age. So I don't think his career is a total dive, is it? Let's be fair.
What do you think, Rob?
The question was in a word, right?
I don't know.
Say that again?
I thought you said in a word.
Oh, in a word, right.
To be fair, yeah, I didn't hear that. Go on, in a word then, Rob.
I don't know what I've come for you there, Nate. I've had a long day too, me. I'm just, I thought if I bring someone else down, it'll make me feel better. But I'm sorry.
It's okay.
In a word, fine.
It's weird. I'm going to go more than a word. And I think it wasn't a flop up until we, United, re-signed him for 90 million for the second time. I think from then on, flop. Up until then, perfectly fine.
Yeah, but I mean, you say that we didn't do anything. What did he do at Juve?
Well, we bought him back for 90 million, so he must have been
Yeah,
doing something.
he only
Right?
had a couple of seasons, didn't?
Yeah, no, he was just back on form, wasn't he? Like, we needed a Pogba style player back, but as soon as he came back, then he just started going downhill for him. And I can't wait for United to re-sign him on a free in 3 years' time. It's definitely happening.
No, I think for me, Pogba is the epitome of that player who, of the cliche of having natural talent, but doesn't really seem to have the mindset, and perhaps more so than anyone ever because he won the World Cup. And to be fair, was pretty good, if I remember correctly, in the World Cup. But he always seemed to have a terrible attitude. And I don't know if I said it on this before. I love how all the Jose Mourinho Tottenham documentary aged really well with all his beefs. I bet Jose's absolutely loving this now. I better be watching it up there on his high horse.
Absolutely, because that little video of them at the training ground has been doing the circles again in the last few hours. So we sort of agreed that he has sort of been a bit disappointed. So let's go around. I'll go last just because I got a few names on the list. A player that you think is a flop or someone who could be classed in that bracket of Pogba where they've achieved a bit, but everyone was hoping for a little bit more. Just because I'm looking at him, we're going to go with Jack Boy first.
I'm actually not going to talk about United briefly because I've got about 6 or 7 of them to start with. But someone that came to mind straight away, and he's actually still at the club, is Nicolas Pepe. Like, I thought when Arsenal signed him, I don't know that much about him, right? I gotta be honest. I don't know a huge amount about him, but I remember the hype being huge. And the first season he was there, everyone's all eyes on him. And if I remember, actually, I could be wrong here, but his first season he was all right. Like he was getting involved, he was playing games and stuff. But then he just dropped off a cliff. Does anyone remember how much they signed for him?
70 million, I think it was.
2 million. So where is he still? Where is he still? Sorry,
He's still
he's left. He's gone. No, he's gone.
No, he's gone. He's gone. He's actually gone to Trabzonspor.
That's it. Yeah. No, you say
and the reason why it's funny is that's a Mesut Ozil moment for Jack.
That's definitely an Ozil moment, yeah, for sure.
And for the people who haven't listened to us for that long, Naif said about Ozil should be the next guy to move years ago, and Ozil had actually just left to Fenerbahce, and we already called Naif, and so Nicolas Pepe, yeah, he went late yesterday or 2 days ago. They cancelled his contract and he's gone on a free. Well, yeah, that's not when we record it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be even later by the time the podcast comes out. And you just
yesterday, Jesus Christ! When they said it, he's already been in Turkey for 4 months.
Don't try and deflect on me, No,
it's true. Yeah, though. I consider Pepe a big flop at Arsenal. Like considering it was a club record. Again,
it was actually 4 days ago.
Oh, was it?
There we are.
Well, it's probably best for him. Let's be real. It's probably best for him. I'm happy for him. Hope he does better in the Turkish league. Rob, I'm looking forward to your Nicolas Pepe updates in the future.
Thing is, as well as I think like a lot of Arsenal fans wanted him to stay still. He got 16 goals. I think he got a few assists. Like it wasn't shocking. He just sort of fell off and didn't really play much. I think some of those stats might have got pumped up when he played some Europa League nights. But yeah, I think some fans wanted him to stay. So it's interesting though. But 72 million to then get let go on a free, that is absolutely mental. Very good pick. One I didn't think of. And hopefully he does well in Turkey. We'll go to Nath. Who have you got, Nath, as your sort of Pogba-esque flop?
Yeah, well, I was going to say Pepe as well. So I'll try and choose someone else. And I think a big flop where I don't think it was a match, when they were really good at Arsenal, I think they would change a game at Arsenal and, nick a win and everything else like that would be Alexis Sanchez and his move over to United. I think it was the hype behind it was very flat when he actually got there. Like, I didn't play a lot of games and barely did any goals, any assists. And he was moved on pretty quick as well, then, wasn't he, from United? So that's been I was more prepared to talk about Pepe. So I haven't really got much else behind that. Alexis Sanchez.
So that's fine. It's not like I asked you to put 2 or 3 names down as backup anyway. But
I've been out there all day. I know.
It's fine. Sanchez. I don't think I class him. Like for me, Sanchez had a lot of success in his career at multiple clubs. So Pogba, as Jack mentioned, done well at Juve for maybe 2 or 3, 4 seasons max. Then didn't really do anything apart from win the World Cup. Pepe got the move and then didn't really do anything. Sanchez, it was mint at Udinese, mint even better at Barcelona, probably even better at Arsenal, and then obviously he wasn't good at United. But then he's sort of, he's still bopping around. He's gone to Inter, gone to Marseille, gone back to Inter. So I think it's a little bit harsh to say, I would definitely say he's achieved more in his career than Pogba.
Yeah, the only comment I have on that is I agree that I think it was just unfortunate in terms of like the mint season that he had in at Arsenal before coming to United. Obviously, another Prem team just didn't fit in the team. Just didn't gel as well. Like, still made quite a few appearances over the 2 seasons he was with us, but I just don't think he fit in that team as well as he did in that Arsenal team. If you know what I mean. So I think it looked much worse than it was, and he left at the right time. He got the move. He went on loan to Inter. They ended up taking him permanently. It was the right move for him, I think. But I just don't think he fit well in the team that was there at the time. So I think if he wasn't so mint at Arsenal before it, and obviously going to another Prem team, another huge club, I don't know. It's just the circumstances made that look worse, I think. But I think he would that move to those 2 years in United flop for sure. I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also,
nowhere near as good. Like I said, previous to that, if I think his career has been on a bit of a downward spiral since that move.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I think the only people who can really answer that is maybe Arsenal fans or our Chilean listeners. So if you're tuned in, let us know in the comments if you think, because he's arguably their country's best ever player. I'm really hoping I've not missed out on some Chilean legend. But he's arguably the best Chilean football player ever. So it'll be interesting to see what our Chilean listeners think. Rob, what do you think? Who did you have as your sort of Pogba-esque?
Well, gentlemen, obviously I'm the Turkish league expert, and I must admit to you, I've been overwhelmed. There's been so much stuff happened. People going to Turkey this year. I actually cannot keep up. I'm trying to. I'm doing a lot of time to keep up. And it's come up a few times already. Flop, Ozil. Well, a second half dipped off. Went to Turkey. Pepe Turkey. Talked about Pogba earlier. I don't know if he'll get the big money move in Saudi Arabia anymore. He'll probably go to Turkey. Someone else went to Turkey. This window on loan is Ndombele, who I think is a bit of a flop. And I'll tell you for why. He was Spurs' most expensive player ever. Let's not forget, Spurs got him in 2019, just after they got to the Champions League final. So that seemed to be the moment where it's like, okay, we've got the basis now. We don't normally spend big money. Now we're spending big money, and now we're kicking on, and we're going on and doing something big with it. And I get Ndombele, and what's similar with Pogba is, whenever I watched him play, I could tell whenever he got the ball in his feet, I was like, oh, you can tell he's class. You know what I mean? You have those players who get the ball, you're like, oh, I know he's good. I can tell he's good, but he's not really good doing really that many good things with it, And then he sort of, what do you have, 3 loan deals, and now he's off. He was ostracized from the squad by Ryan Mason, I think. Even Ryan Mason didn't fancy it. And yeah, he fell out of favour with France. Do you know who he came on for as a sub on his France debut?
Ooh.
What year was that?
When was his debut?
2018.
Oh, he would have come on for Pogba.
He would have come on for Paul Pogba. Don't you like it all links together at the end?
Oh, it does. You're good, Rob. You know what I mean? You annoy me off camera, but you come in and do some absolute worldies during the podcast.
You annoy me on camera. I know, mate. I'm just good, mate.
I backed that.
That's a very good pick. I think that's what was it? Was it 53 million? I know you just said, was it 53 or something like that? Tottenham paid for him.
It's more than that, wasn't it? I don't know.
Well, in pounds, 55. So you're not too far off.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. And even when he came on for Napoli last year, he looked like all right. He looked like he was doing well for him. And
sorry, it's kind of. It just seems to be one of those things about it. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. And it's a bit of a shame because, like we said, he seemed to be that good. I don't really know anything about the bloke apart from both his first name and his second name is hard to pronounce when we're recording. But yeah, this didn't work out. And now he's heading off to sort of flop adjacent league in the mighty Turkish Superliga.
No, I like that a lot. Very, very Pogba-esque. Now, when I suggested this earlier in the WhatsApp, this group, this discussion, what I was thinking players that, like, when they come onto the scene, the fans thought they were going to be this guy and they were going to hit these levels like Ballon d'Or level, and then they end up just sort of like showing glimpses, but they don't really get there. So my pick has to be this month he turns 26, right? 26. Still plays in the Premier League. Future knighthood, but still my Pogba-esque sort of flop. Someone who I think who could have been that guy, but he just is never going to be that guy. Has to be Marcus Rashford. Okay. And before Jack comes in with his probably reasonable defense, when he came on to the scene, everyone thought this guy was gonna be a world beater. Not just someone who came in and played off the wing and scored a few goals. And yes, he's had the Man United problems. But you know, when he came on, he scored 2 goals against Arsenal. Everyone's like, yo, this guy. And he's been playing in the Premier League now for what, 7, 8 years? And has he actually ever hit those heights properly? I know he had a good season last year. No, he hasn't. So that's why he's not a flop. But in terms of someone who you thought was going to be do something else in the career, the letdown for me is Marcus Rashford. I'm ready for the defense, Your Honor.
Do you know what? I'm not going to defend it too much. I know what like you're. Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from in terms of like when he first came on, he had the potential, like you said, Ballon d'Or winner, like best in the world. But he was a youth player for Man United. He's come through the ranks. So I mean, like he's worked his way up as a youth academy player, and he's not been going through Manchester United's timeline in the best period. Like I don't think like he's been labelled as the star man, really. Like homegrown. I think he's had a lot of pressure on him, and I think in a lot of scenarios and a lot of times during his career at Manchester United, he has actually provided, like that night in Paris, like scoring that penalty, coming from what was it, 3-0 down to beat him. Unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Like he was that guy then, do you know what I mean? But he has
for one game. For one game. He didn't win the Champions League that year.
No, of course he didn't, but won that game, do you know what I mean? Won the tie. So yeah, it's a difficult one to defend because I know what you mean, like, but I think, like you say, he's only 26, man. It's arguably going into his peak now. You know, he could be there in a year or two.
I mean, I hear you, but then it's like, you know, I hear you, but I think, like I said, if he continued at this, he'd have a really good career, much better than most professionals. I'm just saying, it was just like, you know, what people thought about him in that first year or two, and how excited people were. And obviously the issue with that as well is that he's English. Do you know what I mean? So he gets that sort of. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah, if he was to leave Manchester United now, how much would he go for? And right, where would he, who would pay for, who would pay this? How much?
50 mil.
I think the bigger question is actually no, he goes for more.
50 million.
At 50 mil gets 50 mil does not get you Marcus Rashford right now, because that the fact he's 25, 26 means he could be. Plus, it just wouldn't happen for that. But I think the bigger question is, who would he actually go to? Who, like, you don't get into Real Madrid's team.
No, I think he'd only go to PSG or Juve. I think they're the only clubs that will go to him, particularly kind of PSG, because they kind of need that star, and he kind of does fit that bill of being the. The thing is, he's going to sell a lot of shirts. Let's be boring. Let's still go from a business point of view. You know, Pogba got the money back for United in the shirt sales. I mean, Rashford is going to be £100 million player based on shirt sales alone. You know what I mean? Because he's that guy culturally. So I don't know. I agree with you, James. I do think he is sort of a flop. I mean, and hey, I won 200 quid that night when they beat PSG. I backed him. I'd love to say
I just think
incredible player, but
I just think it's harsh to now be talking about Marcus Rashford when we've just spoken about Pogba, Nicolas Pepe, and Ndombele. Now all of a sudden we talk about Marcus Rashford. Like,
yeah, but it's levels.
There's levels to this. I know what you mean. I know exactly where you're coming from, but I think it's a harsh pick.
If Pogba at 30 years old with a World Cup is being classed as a flop, how is Marcus Rashford not on his way to being one?
Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying, man. I totally get it.
And like I said, you know, I'm not. I know that Pepe, Nath had to think on the spot with the Sanchez pick. So, but
Yeah,
it's
I
like
kind of
no
regret
one, no one, no one was ever like. Do you know what I mean? I feel like Sanchez done his thing, and do you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
just wanted to throw out there, and I wanted to pick someone. He could prove me wrong. I hope he does. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Hopefully, he'll be lifting the World Cup at some point.
All right, let's
But
not get ahead of ourselves now.
do you know what I mean? It won't be on FIFA, but
He's got to prove you wrong in the next 18 months. Really?
Yeah.
No? Because I'm looking
Yeah.
at like 10 years. That's what I
yeah,
think.
because his pace will go soon in the next 2-3 seasons. So, yeah,
Yeah, I know
We'll
exactly
see.
what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Also, United currently have, I think, 3 major flops at the moment in terms of Sancho, Van de Beek, Harry Maguire. Big flops in the club at the moment.
I mean,
big
just
money, big money ones
to
as
say
well.
it was a toss up, and I just wanted to try and not wind up Yoki, but I wanted to do the one that was outside the box. But we cannot be forgetting about Martial. I mean, he is on Rashford's level. They're on the same. Rashford's done a little bit more for United, but the Ballon d'Or clause, the hype at Monaco, basically just don't go to Man United. That's
again,
the moral of the
Martial
story.
making an impact in his debut, and then
that first season or the first 18 months,
yeah, it
everyone
was
was like,
decent.
Martial's mustard. But yeah.